If you ask me to name space programs that aren't performing well, I'd probably mention a few. But if you asked for the absolute worst, without a doubt, I'd have to say Boeing's Starliner. This program hasn't seen a single smooth phase from the day the contract with NASA was signed. Since then, it's been plagued with controversies, technical problems, and delays that make even the most complex space projects look straightforward. Starliner was supposed to be NASA's dependable second option for ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station, but each stage has only added to its troubled history. Now, after all the drama and setbacks of the past few months, just when we thought it couldn't get any worse, Boeing has revealed new developments that seem to take the program downhill even further. Today, we'll dive into what's happening with Starliner, the latest issues it's facing, and how NASA and Boeing plan to move forward despite these continuous obstacles. Before we delve any deeper, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the latest from the space industry. SpaceX's Crew 8 mission just brought 4 astronauts back to Earth from the space station after facing delays. However, this return raised questions about the 2 astronauts left aboard the space station after Boeing's Starliner encountered significant issues. You might wonder why SpaceX's Crew 8 mission is tied to Boeing's Starliner and its delayed return of astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams. Here's the connection. Starliner's technical problems left Wilmore and Williams in space longer than planned, pushing NASA to rely on SpaceX's Crew 8 as a temporary lifeboat in case of an emergency. To understand the context, it's essential to look back at the Starliner's development. NASA awarded Boeing a $4.2 billion contract in 2014 to create a reusable crew transportation system, Starliner, to service the space station. Starliner was envisioned as NASA's secondary option alongside SpaceX's Crew Dragon, which received a comparatively lower funding of $2.6 billion. However, while SpaceX rapidly developed Crew Dragon, with its first crewed mission occurring in 2020, Boeing's Starliner has faced a long series of setbacks, which delayed its timeline for operational readiness. Starliner's most recent mission, the crew flight test, was initially hailed as a big milestone. In June 2024, it transported astronauts Wilmore and Williams to the space station, marking Starliner's first human-crewed mission. Yet, soon after launch, technical issues emerged. Problems with the thrusters and the helium pressurization system, responsible for maintaining stable pressure, raised red flags. NASA engineers identified that thruster problems stemmed from a Teflon seal malfunction, which constrained propellant flow under high temperatures. These flaws presented a critical risk, especially for a safe return to Earth, and led NASA to decide that returning Starliner with the crew was too dangerous. The plan then shifted to return Starliner to Earth without astronauts, allowing Wilmore and Williams to remain aboard the space station as part of an extended stay. This was not an easy decision. It required meticulous coordination with SpaceX to use their Crew Dragon as an emergency evacuation vehicle. This setup meant Crew 8's capsule was temporarily adapted to serve as a lifeboat for Wilmore and Williams until Crew 9's arrival, expected in early 2025, when they can finally return on SpaceX's Crew 9 vehicle. Initially, Wilmore and Suni Williams expected an 8-day stay on the space station after launching on Boeing's Starliner on June 5, 2024. However, as of now, the astronauts have spent over 140 days in orbit. Their extended stay brings unique physical challenges, as prolonged exposure to microgravity impacts the body significantly. NASA uses exercise routines, averaging 2.5 hours daily, and specialized resistive equipment to mitigate effects like muscle atrophy and bone density loss. NASA's recent studies, including those with astronaut Frank Rubio, who spent 371 days in space due to a Soyuz malfunction, indicate that extended stays up to a year are manageable with current protocols. Wilmore and Williams will return with Crew 9, ending their mission, which may total around 240 days, shorter than Rubio's, but among the longest for NASA. The challenges Starliner faced have had a significant impact on the broader space station operations. Initially, Starliner was scheduled to fly its first uncrewed mission in 2019, but a critical software error prevented it from docking with the space station. Boeing made over 80 fixes following this failure and managed a successful uncrewed docking mission in 2022. However, more issues emerged in 2023, including parachute line weaknesses and the discovery of flammable materials on board, delaying its crewed mission even further. These persistent technical setbacks increase the pressure on SpaceX's Crew Dragon to fulfill NASA's crew rotation needs. Financially, Boeing's project costs soared due to these delays. Initially funded with a $4.2 billion contract from NASA, Boeing has had to invest an additional $1.8 billion to cover unforeseen costs, including a recent $250 million charge due to increased testing and certification expenses. This latest charge brings total losses to nearly $2 billion. Boeing attributed these costs to schedule delays and the challenges of meeting fixed-price contracts. In contrast, SpaceX received $2.6 billion from NASA, nearly half of Boeing's funding, yet has achieved significant milestones and transformed the commercial launch industry. SpaceX's Crew Dragon became operational in 2020 and has successfully completed multiple crewed missions to the space station, quickly establishing itself as NASA's primary crew transport provider. Beyond crewed flights, SpaceX has been breaking launch records with its reusable Falcon 9 rockets, which drastically lower the cost of each mission. In 2022, SpaceX completed 61 launches, followed by 87 launches in 2023. As of 2024, they have already surpassed their own record by achieving over 100 launches, highlighting SpaceX's consistent performance and scalability. Another key breakthrough for SpaceX is the recent Starship launch. They tested its ability to not only launch the rocket, but also catch the Super Heavy booster with the mechanical chopstick arms on the launch tower, a first in aerospace history. This technique, aimed at enabling rapid reusability, is expected to substantially reduce the time and cost of future launches by allowing the booster to be quickly reset for subsequent missions. During Flight 5, both the booster and the upper stage Starship performed as planned. After liftoff, all 33 engines of the Super Heavy booster engaged, propelling the rocket toward space. Upon reaching the desired altitude, the booster separated, reignited a set of engines for its return trajectory, and descended back to the launch pad where it was successfully caught by the chopstick arms. Meanwhile, the upper stage continued its journey, reaching an apogee of about 212 kilometers before re-entering Earth's atmosphere. The Starship capsule completed its journey with a controlled descent and splashdown in the Indian Ocean, though it was never intended to be recovered. The landing precision, captured by a pre-positioned buoy, confirmed the vehicle's accuracy in its descent, despite minor burn-through issues on the heat shield during re-entry. Flight 5 showcased improvements in Starship's design, especially the new heat shield configuration, which handled re-entry stress more effectively than previous flights. However, minor damage to the control flaps indicates that SpaceX still has some technical refinements to make. The next Starship test flight, Flight 6, is anticipated as early as November 2024, using Booster 13 and Ship 31. SpaceX aims to continue refining the vehicle, with upcoming objectives likely focused on in-orbit Raptor engine relighting, a critical capability for future deep space missions to destinations like the Moon and Mars. Don't forget to check the link in the description to grab your own highly realistic Starship model. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video.